Namaskar, welcome to Prakash on Basics. I am Prakash Zog. Last time we looked into the runas, the debts that every individual is expected to repay before his death. It is a social obligation from birth onwards, and these, as I had already mentioned, are the Deva Runa, the Rushi Runa, the Pitru Runa, the three major ones, and the Bhut Runa and the Manav Runa as the remaining two. We cannot repay them directly from to the persons whom we owe, the Creator, all our knowledge sources, all our ancestors who have passed away, and others who are not directly in front of us. So, our scriptures and our religion put forward an idea of repayment. The solution provided by the Smrutis and the other scriptures was to perform certain special yajnas, and these are referred to as the Pancha Mahayadnyas. Pancha means 5, and it's a commitment which represents the true spirit of what yajna is. They are not regular. They are obviously not the regular yajnas that we talk of, or sacrifices as we mentioned long back. So we need to understand them properly. The yajnas are basically fire rituals or sacrifices made to the deities in their original form, and there were many different types. The Shrauta specified in the Shrutis, that is in the Vedas. The Smarta Yajnas, those that were specified in the Smrutis, like the Manu Smruti, the Narad Smruti, the Yajnavalkya Smruti, and so forth. They were highly ritualistic, and they have to be performed very precisely, performed by a specific set of people who have the necessary authority to perform them, a specific time, a specific method, a specific goal in mind, and all these conditions have to be specified for the yajnas. The term yajna and the yag are practically identical. The objective for all these is basically some form of a personal gain, either in this world or in the next world. Or it could be things like Putra Kameshti Yajna, to have progeny, or the Ashwamedha Yajna, to expand your empire and become the emperor of that particular region, and so forth. But the Mahayadnyas are for the welfare and good of the society, for the good of others, and they have to be performed by an individual, and so they were rated above the normal. They have to be performed selflessly, with a sense of commitment, as long as physically possible for an individual. He is expected to perform these Mahayadnyas. Their details are also given in a variety of scriptures, the Manusmruti, the Taittiriya Aranyak, the Shatpad Brahman, and the other texts that are there. In one of the shloks, in a single word is utilized to indicate the objectives that have been defined for each of these Mahayadnyas. It also indicates what these objectives and the yajnas themselves are. The Brahma Yajna is supposed to pay the Rushi Runa, or the debt, and the method is Adhyapan, that is teaching. Dev Runa of the Creator is to be satisfied by performing homas or yajnas, rituals every day as specified. This is basically the Deva Runa. These are all offerings to be made in fire by an individual. The Pitrurun is for the ancestors, and it is in the form of what is known as Tarpana, offering water and many other aspects in the memory of your ancestors. The Bhut Yajna is for all other living organisms, and it is in the form of what is known as Bali. Please realize that Bali here is not a sacrifice by slaughtering animals. Bali is offering food that you have prepared to others. And the last one is the Nru Runa or the Manav Runa, and this is satisfied by Atithi Pujana, that is honoring your guests. In some of these, like the Deva Runa and the Deva Yajna, strict ritualism is practiced to a small extent, but in most other cases it is all done away with and is in a totally new form that these yajnas are performed. There is one more aspect. These are to be performed by Gruhastha, the one who is a householder. This is the most important ashram or the section of life that an individual undergoes in his lifespan. The stage of life with maximum social responsibility, maximum output, maximum efficiency, and a stage where he can contribute to everyone. It is a stage to give selflessly. So the householder is expected to perform these yajnas regularly, because in the earlier, that is the Brahmacharya ashram, he is supposed to get educated and receive from others, and in the Vanaprastha ashram and the Sannyasa ashram he has to do away with everything else and cut himself away from the society. So it is this central area that is the most important. The various meanings of these Pancha-Mahayadnyas and the objectives and alternatives and the expected goals from them have been elaborated in the Smrutis and many other texts also, and they have been interpreted separately in the form of some karma or activities as specified even in the Darshan that we have been talking of all along, which is nothing but the Purva Mimamsa. With the changing social, cultural, religious norms, these have been modified. What they were originally defined in the Smrutis have been modified by the time the Purva Mimamsa came to forefront, and even after that it has gradually been modified all along in the past. Even today we must change them accordingly, but we must follow and practice them at all times, because finally they enhance our moral, ethical, social, religious values that we have. It is for the good of the society and an improvement, enhancement of an individual also. That's one of the beauties of these Pancha-Mahayadnyas. Let's try and understand a few of them today. The idea is to mention what they are and to see what we can do in the present context related to them. The first obviously is the Deva Yajna. This is to please the Creator, the supernatural sources that have contributed to our existence, including the Pancha Mahabhutas, the 5 elements that have contributed to the world around us and us also. The Yajna itself is known as the Deva Yajna. It is said to be Nitya, that is regularly performed. In sections like the Agnihotra, the daily fire ritual that a Gruhastha is supposed to carry out, and the prayer Trisandhya, the Sandhya type of ritual of prayers to the Lord, to the Creator for everything that is around us, remembering Him in the morning, in the noon, and in the evening. And then it also includes meditation during these itself. Then the naimittic or special occasion yajnas are also a part of this Deva Yajna. These are at the time of harvest or some blessings that you feel you have received from the Almighty. This Deva Yajna, in a sense, is more or less associated with a bit of ritualism. One is expected to offer donations for which he has himself toiled. In the fire, he is supposed to make offerings of whatever he has himself helped in gathering and collecting and producing. So it is personal toiled material that is to be offered to him, the Lord. Actually, what can you give to the Creator who has everything? There is a Hindi word that can be connoted. Tera tujhko arpan. I give to you what is already yours. And that is a feeling that must be there in the person who is making an offering. And I am sure it would be in the hearts of the Creator also. This is more like a child borrowing money from her mother to get a present for her father's birthday, and that makes both of them happy. The child is happy for having given something to his father, and the father is happy that the child has remembered to do something for the father. It is the joy of giving at both ends, and that is what this Devarun really is. And the second one, for which there is what is known as the Brahma Yajna. It is related to, as I mentioned some time back, to the Rushi Runa. To satisfy the Rushi Runa, to remove your debt, you must perform the Brahma Yajna. It is for all our knowledge sources of the past and the present also. At the time when they were formed, they were basically meant to be for the Rishis or the sages who had contributed to the knowledge of an individual. Today, there are books. We have the TV, we have the Google, we have the net, we have a variety of encyclopedias, and all of us go through the process of education through our school. And they are not the only ones, because from other sources also you keep on getting knowledge, and they are all the ones who have contributed to our knowledge. It is for these that the Rushi Yajna or the Brahma Yajna, which is the more common name used for it, is to be performed. It's more like that game that you have, passing on the parcel. So what you receive from one person, you pass it on to the second. And if you don't pass it on, you are penalized or punished. And that is the feeling that every individual must have. That if I do not pass on this knowledge that has come to me, then I am going to be penalized, at least internally, by myself. In fact, in the Smritis also it has been mentioned that it is not enough just to gain knowledge, but you must also perform what is known as Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is to keep on learning and acquiring, updating your knowledge. It is self-study for personal improvement. And that is also a must, because things today at least, things keep on changing. Look at the way computers are changing, the languages used for computers are changing. And so a person working in the area of computers has to keep himself abreast with everything that is new and everything that is coming up, all the new languages. I remember working in COBOL and BASIC and Fortran and so forth. See what the kids today are learning. The second area that has been specified by the Smrutis, Manu himself, is Adhyapana. Adhyapan is teaching, to teach others. And the third aspect associated with this is known as Pravachana, to give talks, to advise, to motivate others through a variety of discourses. Give them examples, simplify information, answer their queries, and that is what is expected, but not at a formal teaching level. And that is what Pravachana is. Openly passing on your knowledge through your own talks. In fact, the very reason I started this channel nearly 2 years back was to fulfill my Rushi Runa. So this for me is nothing but a Brahma Yajna. I have promised myself that I will do this, I will not fail, and I will pass on whatever information I have to everyone around and not expect anything in return for it. This is a Runa that I am to satisfy for all the sources of knowledge from where I have learned. So it's a commitment I have made to myself, you need to make to yourself, and pass on whatever is there with you to the next. But then all are not teachers, all cannot teach. So for them an option has been provided. It says, strengthen the process of education through your efforts, if not directly, indirectly. In the past, education was given in the Gurukula, where the Guru would take care of all the students. I take care in all senses. They would stay with the Guru, eat, study, sleep. Everything was associated and provided for by the Guru. How much could he? So it was a part and parcel of the society to help out. He couldn't go beyond his means. So there was a social responsibility. And the process was known as Om Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi. The students were supposed to leave their ashram, go to the society, and with a begging bowl and with a respectful thought, ask for help, ask for food, ask for provisions. And that is what was expected out of the humility, was a part and parcel of this. And there were very many different methods of giving. Till my childhood, in the city I live in Pune, there was a method practiced for a couple of 100 years, even prior to that, which I'll quote the Marathi word, which says Var Laun Jevne. It means you select a day of a week and invite a student to your residence and provide him food. So the student knows that every Tuesday I am going to go to this particular gentleman's house. So he has to just walk into the house, and the lady of the house will make sure that whatever is cooked is provided for the child. And it is possible that the child may have to go to more than one house, but on a different day, on a different day, on a different day. And make sure that there is no burden of this sort on somebody else to provide for his education. And the householder did it as a part of his duty, as a part of his commitment to the next gen, as it is talked of. I am reminded of my father-in-law. He studied in the same way. He stayed with his relatives. They took care of him, and he worked for them in his spare time, topped in his civil engineering at that time, say about 70, 80 years ago. And then, as a commitment, he too ensured that he took care of the education of not one but many of his relatives. My uncle himself was funded in the same manner, and he got through his education in the same manner. So it was a very common practice. Today, the approach has changed. We have a number of educational institutes, and people selflessly donate to the educational institutes, provide school kits, provide books at an individual level, or sometimes collectively in areas like the Rotary organizations and others. Because how long can the government, which is the responsibility of, who take the responsibility of education today, how much can they provide? Free education to everybody is not possible at every stage. So the society willingly has to take up responsibility. So this, for all of us, is nothing but a form of a Pancha Mahayadnya, the second of the major yajnas, the Brahma Yajna. Sometimes there is a feeling that this word Brahma Yajna is more associated with the community of teachers themselves, the Brahmanas, whose job it was to ensure that all possible knowledge is acquired and passed on. And what do we do today? We need to take up this responsibility also. If your children are busy, you help your grandchildren in their studies, in building up their morals, building up their ethics. Maybe you have knowledge, you can pass that on, or there are so many tales and stories from which good ideas can be passed on to children. You can set up ideals for them. And this then is the second of the major Mahayadnyas. It's a commitment that we all must make to ourselves. As I told you that there are other yajnas also. But then we'll talk of them next time. If you have liked whatever I have said, please like and subscribe to this channel. Peep into your own hearts and find out if you are a part and parcel of the ones who are doing karma or an activity associated with the two yajnas that I have talked of today. The Deva Yajna and this one, the last one, which is equally important, a social commitment to educate the society, because it is the society that has to finally develop and progress, and that is only going to come through proper education. Till we meet next time to discuss the next three of the yajnas. Namaskar.